But obviously, we kind of wanted to do one last little thing, like we mentioned at the start. Jamie, we're going to give 3 bold predictions for the F1 2023 season. Bold prediction number 1, Jamie, and I want some justification.
Well, we've kind of already accidentally revealed my first one, which I wasn't really expecting.
Have we?
But I'm going to go for Lance Stroll to be whitewashed in qualifying by Fernando Alonso.
We said bold predictions, Jamie.
I mean, we haven't seen a whitewash in 5 years since Alonso did it to Van Dorn. So, yeah, that's what I'm going for. And I think it's not like a safe bet, because over 23/24 races, out qualifying in every single one is quite ridiculous. And if Alonso manages it, then fair play. But obviously Lance Stroll is not the best qualifier in the world, otherwise you wouldn't be making this prediction. But yeah, I've gone Stroll to be 23/4 to 0 against Alonso.
Again, we did say bold predictions, and you're trying to say that Fernando Alonso is going to be a teapot next year.
Great.
Basically. So, okay, fair enough. I'm going to try and go a bit bolder than that then, Jamie. I'm going to say 2023, Alpine, McLaren, and Aston Martin all score a podium.
That's fairly bold in terms of boldness. But yeah, we only had one of those 3 score a podium last year.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're predicting we're going to see a return to the 2020/2021 ways of podiums for everyone. There's a correlation there because Hulkenberg wasn't in the sport at that point.
Yes.
They decided everyone could get podiums now. So
that's why I haven't put Haas on there.
Yeah, the pain. But I would be a little pessimistic about all 3 of those, because thinking back to when we used to have 3 teams at the front, which is kind of what we had now, but back in 2019 and previous, you had Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, all quite clear of the rest. It makes it extremely hard for outsiders to get podiums, because you're relying on 4 of the top 6 having problems, which is quite rare. Whereas when you only have 2 fast teams and one of them is driven by Alex Albon, you only need to have one of the proper 3 have a problem.
It's a fair argument, but what we've also seen in recent years is back when there were only 3 big teams, Alpine were nowhere near what they've been able to do in the last couple of years. McLaren have learned a lot since then, and Aston Martin, of course, like we mentioned, their huge upward trajectory in 2022. I can see, I don't think we're going to see a complete change up of the order or anything like that, but I can see each of those teams, a bit like Lando at Imola, having weekends where they're close enough and things fall into place. And I think, which we didn't get this year, we're going to get one of those mad races where you get like a Spain, not Spain, sorry, in a Monza 2020 or like a Baku 2021.
All 3 are doing one race.
Where you get like 2 teams from the midfield get a podium. I think we're going to see a bit more of a return to that, of course, because I think what we're going to see over the next 4 years or 3 years, sorry, even, is of course that the front teams can't gain as much anymore, so that all the other teams play catch up and get a lot closer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I would disagree with you.
Number 2.
Despite disagreeing with your prediction that midfield teams will struggle to hit podiums, I'm going to say that Pierre Gasly gets a podium, and also in doing so beats Esteban Ocon in the championship.
Okay, so we're going to say that Esteban Ocon, who beat Fernando Alonso, is going to get beaten by Pierre Gasly.
Well, there were a lot of extenuating circumstances for Ocon to beat Alonso. I don't think he should have done. I think a lot of people would agree with me. And
he's one of those circumstances. He was French and Alonso wasn't.
Yeah, indeed. But now they're both French. They're going to get equal favouring. So, yeah, I really back Pierre. I think he was delivering very solidly in the first half of the season as much as he could. And then as soon as he signed for Alpine, he kind of checked out of trying with AlphaTauri. So I think it would be a good return to form. Obviously, 2021 was probably his best year in F1.
Yep.
So, yeah, why not get him a podium? He's only had 3 in his career, 1 in each place, which is quite cool. And all for AlphaTauri, of course. And hopefully, I mean, I sometimes pretend to be a Gasly fan on occasion. So
on occasion.
Yeah, this is kind of heart over head a little bit, but hopefully Gasly can beat Ocon and also get that podium for Alpine.
That's what bold predictions are all about, though, Jamie. You know, you believe in your personal favourites and things like that, and that's why in 2023 I'm saying Mercedes are going to win at least 6 Grand Prix. At least.
I'd probably
they won
back
one
that.
last year. They won one last year. I think, you know, they have confirmed they're going to be sticking with the zero side pod concept, which kind of scares me.
Zero side
to within
pod,
a certain degree.
zero win. That's how it goes.
Well, they did win one race last year with no side pods, so
True.
We'll wait and see. But I think, you know, they were getting on top of that car towards the end of last year, and I wonder whether those statements are more about just trying to make Red Bull and Ferrari look over their shoulder more than anything else. But I think, you know, not necessarily saying that Mercedes are going to fight for a world title, but I think they're going to be a whole lot closer. And is it fair to say we'll play second fiddle most likely to Red Bull? They might sort of take what Ferrari were in 2022 away from Ferrari.
I think, yeah. It's a really difficult one to call, I think, with Mercedes, because if you start the season in Mexico, which is what, 4 races from the end, 3 or 4 races from the end, I think, yeah, they probably have on average the second fastest car, maybe the fastest car. So yeah, it's interesting to see, because I don't think there's going to be massive evolution of these cars. It's going to kind of be like no, there will be evolution, there will not be revolution. That's the saying.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of like a continuation of last year. And if the trajectories are to be continued, then Mercedes should be right up there, capable of fighting, which would be good for all the Hamilton and Russell fans. So well done, Matt. You might actually get something to celebrate this year.
Hooray!
Yeah, similar. I kind of have to back your prediction, because my final prediction is driver and constructors champions are different from each other. So like we saw in 2021, where Verstappen obviously won the title, but Mercedes won the constructors. I'm going for that again. Basically, I don't want to commit to those two things, like Verstappen and Mercedes, but if I had to choose one, that's what I would say.
Okay, that's interesting.
But
so
yeah.
You reckon we're going to see a repeat of 2021?
I basically think Perez is going to be a fraud, and will not help Red Bull as much as he did in 2021.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question then, Jamie, based on that. Do you think, therefore, that it is just going to be Checo's going to be dog poo and Red Bull are just still going to have the best car and Verstappen's going to be able to lead from the front? Or, surely, if it's going to be Mercedes up against Max, Russell is going to be a much bigger help than Bottas was.
Yeah, but I think Red Bull will still have the edge. I think in 21 they had such equal cars that the teammates played a big part. I think Red Bull will be a touch faster, and Verstappen, I think, is better now than he was in 2021, especially when it comes to risk versus reward in battles. But yeah, I think because the top 3 are going to be quite close, I think you'll have Verstappen winning and Perez down in 5th and 6th, while the Mercedes finish 2nd and 3rd every week and bag the championship.
Okay. Final bold prediction then from me, Jamie. And I mean, this one isn't particularly bold still. It's only happened once, I think once ever, actually, though, for this team. So
once.
It is just the once, isn't it? Yeah, so it's a fairly bold prediction, I suppose. Sadly, I have got not a lot of faith in Williams for next year. It would not surprise me if we get towards Bahrain and they still don't have a team principal. It just kind of feels like one of those things that everyone's going to go back into the factory and kind of they're going, guys, we haven't sorted that still. Who's telling us what to do? But I'm saying Williams are going to be the only team next year that fails to score a point. And I feel really bad saying it because I want to see Albon and Sargent both get a fair shot at battling with other cars, but I'm still very worried that we're in the process of the downfall of Williams.
Yeah, I just had a quick look. They finished 10th in the championship every year but one since 2018.
But they did score points in all of those seasons, apart from 2020.
Yeah, but how they scored points in 2019 is beyond me. Robert Kubica, the GOAT.
Hockenheim, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And going back to your whitewash comment, didn't George whitewash
Oh,
Robbie
maybe
Kubica?
he did.
I thought he did. Yeah, because he was unbeaten until like most of the way through 2020.
Yeah, and then
wasn't he?
Latifi beat him.
And Latifi beat him somehow.
Yeah,
We miss the GOAT himself, even to this day.
yeah.